From the combined crew of blindandroidusers.com and accessibleandroid.com, it's time for your favorite Android podcast. Kick back now and enjoy another fine episode from these fanboys and gals as they navigate Android from a blindness perspective. And now, here's your crew.
Hello and welcome to episode 224 of the Blind Android Users podcast. I'm Ed Green and I'm joined today by my co-hosts Karine Kiwan, Sally Kundus, John Dyer and Warren Carr. And we're coming to you on Saturday, the 22nd of March, 2025. On this week's episode, in our Android Basics section, we look at Android 16 Beta 3.1. In the Spotlight section, we cover the recently announced Google Pixel 9a. We have an app of the week from John, who demonstrates Button Mapper, and a tip of the week from Warren to finish the episode, where he shows you how to conduct some basic phone operations using Google Gemini instead of the Google Assistant. Well, how are we all? Karine, are you okay?
I'm doing well. Everything's going well here. Actually, we are having some cold weather, and we had some rain this week. So it went from 20s to something like 12, 13 degrees Celsius, which is good. And we are enjoying the last days of winter. Actually, we started spring, but it was like winter this week. So yeah, it's good. How about you? How's everything?
All okay here, thank you. We had a spectacular thunderstorm for about half an hour earlier on. Very close. We got hail, a lot of thunder and a lot of rain. But happily we were inside, so we avoided that. It's been pretty warm towards the end of the week, but changeable weather. John, how are you?
I'm good. We've had a pretty busy last couple of weeks. We had a situation in the downstairs bathroom where there was a leak and we had to replace a lot of stuff. So Ashley put a new floor in, and I literally just finished installing a toilet just a few minutes ago. I finished cleaning up my mess and ran upstairs and got here at 12:59, just in time for the podcast.
Nice. You did it all yourself? You didn't get a plumber in or anything?
Yeah, I've done everything but attach the water line. The old one's not going to reach, so I'm going to have to replace that. But yeah, it was a mess because what had happened is the flange for the drain was way too low, and whoever installed the toilet before had just stacked a whole bunch of wax rings, which is not how you're supposed to do it. So I actually installed a new flange on top of the existing floor. I had to drill into concrete and everything. So it was a decent project, and I'm pretty proud of myself. So I haven't tried the toilet yet, but I'm pretty confident that it's going to work.
Nice.
John, I'm so proud of you. Now, and I'm not kidding. You do a lot, and I'm so thankful that you're also part of this podcast, and you are such an inspiration to a lot of us. I don't think I would be able to do what you did, because one thing, I'm going to be afraid there may be a snake hiding somewhere in that.
Yeah, trust me. One of the first things I did was just stuff towels down in there. Nothing was going to come up out of there. I mean, it's not good to have those gases coming into your house anyway, but you never know what creatures will work their way.
Oh my gosh, you're braver than I. I'm so proud of you, bro. Absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. I'm proud of myself too. Thank you.
Yeah. Warren, how are you?
Well, I'm doing good. This week, though, it's kind of like a little snow up in the mountains. Actually, lots of it. I'm glad we don't have it down here in the valley, but it seems like this week we're having across the country, especially here and then Rockies and down in some parts of the Midwest, like a return of the winter. And so several inches of snow. But like I said, I'm glad here we just had some rain. But temperatures in the 40s. So that's really good.
Oh, not too bad. Nice and crisp for March. Sally, what's going on?
Well, I'm doing great, and greetings to those who hate the international break as much as I do.
Definitely, yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Even some League One games are called off, which is absolutely
Oh, no
ridiculous.
good.
Huddersfield
No
aren't
good.
playing in the third tier of English football. Like, what a joke!
This is definitely a joke. So here, last week we had up to 25 degrees Celsius, and now we're up like down to 4, and it's snowing. I don't know what's going on with the weather. Like suddenly it turned out to be a springy weather, but then it's snowing again. That's crazy.
And is Mourinho continuing to make friends in Turkey with all his various pronouncements? He seems to be
Yeah.
annoying pretty
Oh
much
my
everybody.
God, I know. Yeah, that's crazy here. I mean, I don't know what to say about that.
He has been properly losing it with pretty much everybody by what I've seen.
Exactly that.
And now, the Android Basics segment. This is a segment where we discuss the things that power your device from behind the scenes. And now, here's this week's episode, Android Basics.
Let's start with our Android Basics section. And this week, we cover the release of Android 16 Beta 3.1. Warren, do you want to kick us off on this?
In this little patch fix, mine came in a whopping 6.7 MB, just under 7 MB of the Android 16 Beta 3.1. There are mainly 4 important fixes that Google took care of in this fix or this patch. And here are the fixes or the items that were fixed, the issues that were discovered and got fixed. Fixed an issue that causes the system settings app to crash repeatedly on launch if the system language was set to a language other than English. Of course, I didn't experience that because mine is English. 2, fixed an issue that caused the screen brightness to oscillate between an app specified brightness setting and the automatic system specified or user specified brightness settings. 3, fixed a performance issue that was causing excessive battery drainage from high CPU load. And the last one, number 4, fixed a performance issue that sometimes caused memory leaks in the system server. And those were the changes or little fixes that Google made with this fix found in Android 16 3.1 beta.
Anyone else got anything they've put the Android 16 beta on? John, you've got a Pixel 9 something still, haven't you?
Yes, I have a 9 Pro, and it is running the beta, but I have not had the chance to install the 3.1. I'm still on beta 3.
Yeah, so those issues are just the issues that we have, so if you were observing that for some reason, then those are the ones that got fixed. And of course, if that battery drainage was there, I wasn't paying attention, but, at least it's fixed. And also, especially those of you that use other languages, and if you're having those system crashes because you're not using English as your chosen language, and I think that was bad. So I'm glad Google took care of that, because that came like 5 days after the 3.1 beta 3. What am I saying? Yeah, beta 3. That's right. So it was quick with the discovery. Someone figured out something was wrong, and so quickly got it fixed.
What's not fixed though is what I mentioned last week. Or was it 2 weeks? It might have been last week. The issue a friend of mine was having with the Explore by Touch not working. Apparently, clearing the cache helped him for a little while, but then it came back, and he and another person have reported that it happens when they're hiding the screen. So when they hide the screen, they can't use Explore by Touch. They can only swipe from items, and so he reported it, through the feedback app. So if anybody else is having this issue, I strongly recommend you report it as well, because it seems like a serious issue. I've tested it and it's not affecting me, but there are 2 people that I do know for sure are having this issue. So yeah, it's something that we want to get fixed before public release.
For sure. Yeah, that's a pretty critical talkback issue. Make a phone very inefficient to use if you can't explore by touch.
So to be clear, John, are you saying that if one uses the hide screen, then those guys that talked about it are not able to say if
Yes.
they are on the home screen, move by explore by touch and find icons and stuff like that?
Right. It's
Let me grab my phone. I'm kind of curious. I don't hide my screen. Let's see.
yeah, I don't either, but I tried it
List.
and it
So
didn't affect
here's
me.
my talkback.
Talkback setting. Text voice command. Hide screen. Hide screen. Hide screen. This turns off the display to improve privacy.
That tells you I don't
Always
use
show
it.
the cancel button. Okay,
Yeah.
button. Screen hidden. To change this tab with 3
Okay.
fingers to open the talkback menu, select shows
So
folder money for home.
yeah, so
Fold home.
mine works.
Folder home.
Yeah, mine works as well.
Home too.
Article reader. Audio lab.
You see.
Home. Hulu. Open
Yeah, so
camera.
and it could be because my doctrine, I always reset my device. So if that's the case, probably take my doctrine to heart and you'll be out of the woods. But it works at my end and it works at yours. So John, I think I'll
Yeah,
chalk
and I
this
have
down
not
to
factory reset.
resetting of their device, and I don't think it's something that is with the I don't know.
No,
But it works.
it needs to be fixed. I mean, no, you can't expect normal people to factory reset their phone when they get an update. And the fact that clearing TalkBack's data works temporarily and then it came back makes me think a factory reset wouldn't help either. But only time will tell. So if you are having this issue, definitely report it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. You guys figure out what's going on. Sometimes these things happen, but I strongly believe that factory reset will fix it. There's something going on at their end. I don't believe it's. If it is, we would have heard it from more than 2 people. Welcome to the Spotlight segment. This is a segment dedicated to interviews with developers or interesting happenings in the world of Android. And now for this week's episode, here's your Spotlight.
And now we turn to our Spotlight section. And we're going to discuss a launch from Google. And it's that time of the year where the A-series phones get launched. And so this year, Google has launched the Pixel 9a. That was this week. Was it yesterday, the launch?
The launch, I think, was that on Wednesday. John, you remember?
Wednesday.
Yeah, I think it was. Was it Wednesday or was it Tuesday? Oh, one of those two.
I've been obsessed with my bathroom all week. I don't know what day it was.
But this week, anyway, they are back with a Pixel 9 phone. They're particularly touting its 100-hour battery life. So let's have a look at it in a little bit more detail. Warren, being the fan of Fisher-Price and all things Google Pixel, do you want to kick us off and tell us a bit about this?
Belly Acre. Well, so first, though, let's talk about the availability and especially what regions and countries that this Pixel 9a would be available in. And so we're going to start, though. The Pixel 9a will be available in the following regions and countries. North America, we have USA and Canada. Asia / Australia, we got Australia, Japan, India, Singapore, Taiwan, and Malaysia. Europe, big old mighty Europe, we got the UK, Germany, Spain, Italy, Ireland, France, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, Portugal, Switzerland, Poland? Yeah, Poland. We got some friends in Poland. The potato boy is in Poland. What's this one? Czechia? Was it? I'd never seen Czechia. How do you pronounce that? Czechia? What is it?
Czechia, yeah.
Czechia, Romania, Hungary, Slovenia, Slovakia. Oh my gosh, there's just so many little places in Europe. I don't know. Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, and Finland. Those are the areas that the Pixel 9a would be available in. So I think a total like of 32 countries. I think that's a great improvement on the part of Google. So let's talk about the hardware and all of that, and whether it's worth it, and what are the issues, problems. Even though it's not yet quite out there, Google hasn't even. You can't. I tried to see if I could pre-order just for giggles. I couldn't find it to pre-order. So let's talk about that.
So yeah, let's have a look at let's have a look at some of the specs on the phone. They've held the price for the 9A, which is compared to the 8A, which will please some folks, I think. You can have 128 gig and 256 gigs of storage. So it starts in the UK at $499. Is that the same as in the US? Is it $499 in dollars as well? Have they kept that the same?
Yes.
Yeah.
It is $499 here in the US for the 128, like you indicated, and then then with the 256 is like $599. Is that $599? And I think that the 256 gig is more expensive than last year's, because last year's I believe it was $549 or something along that line. And frankly, I think Google could have just made this thing at $579 instead of $600. Let's be honest. I'm not a fan of $99.99 nonsense. Who are we fooling here? So $500 and $600.
So you're probably not a fan of gas prices either, because they're not only is it like to the cents, but then and 9/10 of a cent.
Yeah,
Like,
they're
that's
stupid.
so ridiculous.
Yeah, they're absolutely stupid. Who are we fooling here? Either round it up for me or round it back down. But don't tell me, I'm selling it to you for less than $500. I mean, especially here, if it's in the UK and other places like that, yeah, it makes sense because yours comes inclusive with the taxes, right? Ed, you don't add anything on top of that. Yeah, but here, who are we fooling? It may be $585 in my area. It may be $565 in John's, depending on the taxes in your area. So I get tired of this 99 nonsense. Let's quit that crap.
Yeah. I think you get a couple of new colors this year as well. So you've got obsidian black, porcelain white as before, but we've got peony, which is apparently a fetching pinkish color, and iris, so more purplish. If you want a bit of a change. Sounds like there's no camera bar, so they've changed how the cameras are arranged, so more flush. And you've got an upgrade on the IP rating, which would be quite good, to 68, so you can take it swimming with you. I think the 8A had 67, didn't it?
Yeah, and I was wondering what the hell that color was. The other color you mentioned, I can't even say. You say what?
Peony. Peony is a type of flower.
It sounds like it's kind of like a puny thing to me.
Well, it's a girly pink, if you like girly pink. I don't believe girly pink is the technical term.
I keep that. I will take either the obsidian, definitely, but not no peony or whatever that thing is, puny thing. Karine, which one would you like? The little puny thing or the El Macho color?
I think I'm gonna guess. Let's all guess what she wants. See who's right. I'm gonna think she just wants the black one.
I think she wants obsidian black.
I think so too. Or maybe she would want the porcelain, the white one.
No, it's black.
What's the other fourth color, Ed? You mentioned it. Was it rose gold?
Iris. So it's a purple color.
Oh no, actually, I like that color. My wife would like that. I mean, my wife likes purple, but I think for me, just give me the black one or the white one. And after all, I'll throw the thing in a case anyway. But definitely not the other, the funny pink you talked about, Ed.
No, the peony one.
Yeah, I could never say that right. I'll call it puny.
Are we disappointed by 8 gigs of RAM? What do we think about that for all the AI stuff we want to do? Because it's got the Tensor G4, hasn't it, from the 9? But do we like 8 gigs of RAM, or do we want it to have more than that?
I wish we had more.
I'm disappointed in it because, frankly, if you're giving people 8 gigs of RAM and we're talking about, these days wherein, everything revolves around the AI, 8 gigs of RAM is just puny, to put it mildly.
I'm fine with it because the price stayed the same. I know if they had added RAM to it, they would have also raised the price because, the Pixel 9 now starts at 800, right? So the Pixel 8 was 700, so it went up by 100 and they had added it, so it starts with 12 gigabytes of RAM. So yeah, I like the fact that it's now $300 cheaper for this phone instead of $200 cheaper. And
there's no option to upgrade it, though, is there? It'd be good if
No.
the 256 had 12, maybe. I don't know. Like, it feels like one of them should.
yeah,
Or-
the upgrade is the Pixel 9. So yeah.
And I think the reason too why it has 8 gigs so is because the onboard AI is an extra smaller version of the Nano. So really Google knew what they were doing. They had to cut corners to keep the price at the same price like last year, especially for the 128. But I'm thankful we have that. But I think that the 256 was a little bit too greedy when it comes to pricing. I don't think I will pay $600 for the 256.
So Ed mentioned there's no camera bar this year, and you mentioned earlier that the battery is increased. And this is something, it's interesting because this is something people have been asking for a while. They're like, my phone does not need to be this thin. Just make the phone as thick as the camera bar would be and give me more battery. And I think that's exactly what they've done here for this device. So yeah, if you're one of those people that said, my phone does not need to be thin, I'd rather have battery, this is a good option.
5100 mAh, so we'll see what that does with Google's optimizations turned off. Obviously, let's not do battery tests with their aggressive optimizations on, Warren.
I'm sure Warren will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's the largest battery that's ever been on a Pixel phone.
It is the largest, and frankly, with that, I probably would run that thing for a week or at least maybe 4 days before I recharge it. Because with my Pixel 9 Pro XL, I don't charge I charge it like every 2 or every 3 days, and so with this beast of a battery, I see me running with that thing for like 4 days or thereabout before I even charge it because I don't know. It's really great. So I'm looking forward though to seeing that also in the Pixel 10 if they're going to be that generous. Because let's change it, John. We've been talking about the fact that both Samsung and Google needs to change that battery, give us a bigger battery. Match up with those guys in the Chinese arena. I'm looking at OnePlus and the other ones out there. If those guys are getting 6,000 milliamp batteries, why can't we? Come on, don't be shy. Give us the the gusto here, so to speak, because you got a great phone and then puny battery. That's no bueno.
And the charging speed, 23 watts wired, 7 watts wireless.
I don't care about
How slow is that?
I don't
How
care
slow is
about
that?
charging speeds. I happen to be one of the odd ones. The slower, the better for me. I'm not into that fast charging. I know I've said that 100 times.
You really gotta try hard to charge slower than an iPhone, and they have succeeded.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
So I don't care about fast charging, but yeah. So is that like that's smaller than the regular 9, isn't it? 23. The regular 9, is it 25 or 35? I don't remember. John, you remember the 9 series?
I don't. I know it's All I remember is that it's faster on the Pro. I mean the XL than it is on the 9 and 9 Pro, but I don't
Yeah.
remember the exact numbers.
Yeah, I think they are bigger than 23, though. I think they are. I want to err on that part that they're bigger than that 23 on the 9A.
Yeah, I would guess around 27, and then for the XL maybe like 35 or 37.
For
something
Pro,
like
it's 27.
Uh-huh.
that. Yeah, so
Yeah, so it's not much of a difference. I mean, but that 4% makes a difference somehow.
And we were going to mention the modem as well, which is a downgrade on the Pixel 9. So you get the Exynos or Xenos 5400 on the Pixel 9. You get a 5300, slightly older one on the 9A, don't we think?
Yeah, so that's really bad on the part of Google. But of course, it's that cost cutting process. And I think that's why they're able to keep that price the way that it is last year. However, I don't think it's a good idea to do that. And maybe that's why it's being withheld, because I think rumor says or claims that there was a problem, and I think it has to do with that modem. Or even though no one mentioned exactly what the problem is, but it has to do with hardware. And my gut feeling is maybe it's that modem. Who knows?
It's certainly a components issue. Tech Radar reported and Google confirmed that they were hoping for a March release date, but a component issue. You sort of thought an old component probably wouldn't have issues. I mean, it would be old, but you'd hoped any quality issue would have been ironed out if you're using something old. But yeah, so we don't actually have a release date yet, do we? Other than April, can you pre-order?
No, you can pre-order.
No.
You go on there. I tried it and it wasn't there. But like you said, Ed, if it's an old component, and sometimes you don't want to put old wine in, new wine skins, no new wine in old wine skins, right? So it may be coming or conflicting with some other component that is a newer device. And I mean, we're talking about the Tensor G4 here, and you're putting something from back when. I don't know. That's a very bad decision.
And do we get any free things with it? Do we know? So I think with the 9 Pro, you got your Gemini Advanced subscription stuff, didn't you? Are we getting anything with the 9A? Any goodies?
John will be the one to know about these freebies, free wars. John, what am I getting? And by the way,
why would I know about the freebies? I know about the Samsung
you're always
freebies.
on top of that stuff, John. Let's be honest.
I'm on top of the Samsung freebies and trade-in offers and that sort of thing, but I don't follow Pixel quite as closely.
Yeah, no, I know that if you have the Google One subscription, they'll give you a 10% off for the 9A.
But we're not sure if it comes with a Google One. It probably doesn't, does it? I wouldn't have thought, or a Gemini Advance.
I highly doubt it. It may come with a Gemini.
I'm gonna say no because the Pixel 9 didn't.
Did it? No,
Yeah,
I
they
don't
had
think
to
it
get
didn't, right? Oh,
You
yeah.
had to get the Pro or the Pro XL.
Yeah, no,
Pro
this
XL.
one
Yeah.
definitely will not, because it
No.
will really only piss off the buyers of the regular
9.
9 if you give a 9A. Yeah, so no, I doubt that it would.
This isn't Pixel related, but I'd obviously been living under a rock for a while, and I only recently opened Gemini on my S25 Ultra and discovered I got 6 months free, which I didn't realize I did. I was quite happy about that.
I also get
Yeah,
the offer.
I just activated mine this week as well, and I actually got a refund because I paid for a year of Google One, so they kind of prorated my plan. It was just the $20 plan, but I got like $11 back because I had
I
like
also
7
get a
months
refund
left.
I get 2 TB of annual subscription, and they paid me the 50% of back, so that was good.
Awesome. Yeah, free money.
Yeah, nice.
Just make sure you check out the pretty ones out. You're getting a whole lot of moolah back. That's all I can suggest.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but I think we talked about this fact that Samsung was only giving the 6 months of the advance when it first You guys remember that? I think we talked about that, and
Yeah.
that was
Yeah,
one
we
of the
do.
downsides that we were mentioning.
But they have their own AI stuff you get for free as well, don't you? Or something they've said they'll charge for in future. Like when
I
the
don't think that
S24
will
came out,
happen.
they said
Yeah,
they'll-
apparently they
Well,
haven't been charging for
They
it.
they
Not
have
yet.
said it will be free until the end of 2024. They haven't said they will charge for it. They just
Yeah.
said they'll make
Yeah.
the decision at that time. So who knows?
Yeah, we'll have to see. We're in March 25, so they need to make it soon.
Mhm.
I think that the whole AI thing is probably not what it's cracked up to be, and probably they're seeing that not a lot of people are using it. And usually, if not a lot of people are using it, then what's the point of charging for it? You know what I mean? So I don't know. I'm just thinking thinking out loud here.
I love it. Yeah.
Kareen loves it too. So do I, to be fair.
Yeah.
Although I don't use it as much.
Okay, so I won't get a black phone. This is the thing that is like, this is the obvious thing actually. Well, I could get the pink. You said that there is a pink one, and which is the puny one, and I could get the white. So I will decide according to what people say. Like I will show it to someone who is sighted, or to several people who are sighted, and ask them which one is the better, and then
What if
according
they
to their opinion,
what if they tell you to get a black one?
I'll say no, thank you. I don't want
Nobody would say. I'm the same way. I never get the black one, but
Well,
I guess-
but to be honest, I got a black phone before. Well, the thing that was, I was in love with the phone, and I wasn't in the mood to go to other shop and bring another color. So it was the only one available. So I got it. But when I got it, actually, I received a lot of criticism. Why did you get the black one? What's the problem with you? Why and that? So yeah, everyone was like not happy with what I did actually.
I'll put it in a pink case, Karen, then you'll be fooling them.
Yeah. Very
but she doesn't
simple.
use a case. Remember? Warren?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You did it right.
But yeah, so
exactly.
for me, I like the black ones. I change them from time to time, but most of the time it's the black one. And the reason why is that sometimes the obsidian or black ones are the ones that have the bigger storage. For some reason, I still don't understand the concept behind that. But for some reason, sometimes Google only gives you the biggest storage in black. And so being the type of person that I am, liking the bigger storages, there's no way under heaven I'm going to get something puny. So I always get those with the bigger storage, and they wind up being the black ones. But of late, I think we have other color
So,
choices, but not the
In
porcelain.
that Warren's language, we say, "Give me that bigger storage."
Thank you so much. Exactly.
I think Google's playing it safe with how much they're going to manufacture it in that size, because Samsung's had issues with like offering the 1 terabyte in all the colors. Like, remember that steel
Yeah.
I got for the 1 terabyte fold?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that was because they had a navy and a pink. Like, if you got the 1 terabyte navy or pink, it was like massively discounted, like $1,000 off, compared to like all the other colors were only like $200 off. So like they were trying to get rid of like these colors that they had made in 1 terabyte. Like I guess the person who's going to buy a pink phone is not the person who's going to get it in 1 terabyte. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
Google's just playing it safe, like by forcing you to get the Obsidian one if you want the 1 terabyte.
Why did you decide this? Why did you get this assumption? How could you reach this assumption?
You're going simple sometimes. You don't want troubles.
No. I mean, why people who will get the pink aren't going to get the 1 terabyte one?
Well, you know what I
in
mean.
trouble.
What's the safe answer?
Putting yourself
What's
in
the safe
trouble.
answer? So I'm not assuming. I'm just
Putting
looking at the
yourself-
fact that it went on sale, and I'm assuming that Samsung had a hard time selling the pink 1 terabyte phones and the navy 1 terabyte phones. So
Yeah.
For whatever
especially when
reason,
it's discounted for
people,
over
I guess people
$1,000.
just weren't buying them.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, exactly. And especially John, I mean, there's no way, anyone in their right mind will discount something but over half. I mean, $1,000 knockoff? Come on, man. That tells you no one is buying no pink phone in bigger storages.
Exactly.
I got the green S25 Ultra.
I got the ice blue one, Ed.
But I'm going to say
I got
this
the
for the
white and
record.
silver.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this for the record. If there are no other colors with a big storage, but the pink one is like the biggest storage, I'll get that pink one and throw a case on it. I always throw mine in a case anyway. I'll throw it in a black case or something crazy like that.
Yeah,
and have big storage.
that proves me
Are you
right
serious
saying-
now?
No, I'm serious. I'm not kidding you.
Pinky, what's the
actually
thing?
got-
Actually, that's crazy.
When I got my Razer V3M, like one of the original Motorola Razers, I actually got it in pink, and like 90% of my friends made fun of me. But
Well, so see, if you had put that thing in a case, no one is going to know that you're running around with a girl-looking thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactamundo. Yeah. So
well, I
no
wasn't
one's
gonna hide it. That's why I got it. I wanted a phone that nobody else had, and
You
nobody
want to
I knew
stick
had
it
it.
to them, then.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't, because claiming to be El Macho and seeing running around with a girl-looking thing, that's not going to look good on me.
No, they will probably give you troubles.
Exactly, and then I'll lose my respect from the women.
Yeah.
So the other question we haven't yet covered, and I'm not sure of the answer to this actually. Do we know what software updates this is getting in terms of number
7
of years?
years.
It is
7.
7, is it?
Yeah.
Excellent. That's pretty good.
Google is not going back on that thing. Ever since they instituted it, all of their devices now have that 7-year OS support, or whatever support. So I'm glad to see that as being the tradition from now on.
Yeah, we should check with A series though, shouldn't we? Just in case.
It's gonna be 6 years from Samsung.
But I bet Google won't let you pay it off over 7 years. that would be a very low payment for $500.
It would.
Oh my gosh, that would come down to what? Maybe $2 a month. I don't know, or maybe $5 at the most. I don't think it would even be $5 a month. Ed, you are the actually, John, you're the mathematician. If you were to pay that $500 in 7 years,
Yeah, it'd be
what would it come up to a
just over
month,
$5. It's 84 months, isn't it? So it's not quite 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's just
divide,
over 5.
500 by
Yeah.
84, right? Could we ask Google for that, just to be sure, John? Or I could. Here, I got my Pixel here. I'll ask it.
2 a.m.
Divide 500 by 84.
To divide 500 by 84, you can perform the following calculation. 584ths approximately equals 5.95238,095. Therefore, 500 divided by 84 is approximately 5.95.
Ask him to shut up, actually.
Yeah, what a very
That's-
verbose way to tell you the answer.
That's
Give
not
us the damn
bad.
answer.
So is that a $6 or
Yeah,
what would
$6.
that be?
Almost. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. So well, maybe someone should try that. I think that would attract more people, wouldn't you say? I never thought
You'd
of
be-
that, but
You'd be paying off that phone long after you stopped using it.
You
Yeah,
would.
but-
You
but
would.
so I mean, gosh, that would be neat, because a lot of people will get it, right? You're paying $6 a month. Come on, I mean, we buy cars and you could choose 84-month payment or whatever. I wouldn't mind seeing that, most especially now that phones are becoming so expensive. It's like trying to buy a used car or something.
But just for the avoidance of doubt, in case anyone kind of switched off and rejoined that discussion, that payment plan is not available. You can't buy the Pixel 9a for $5.99 a month.
No, that was just my wishful
Yeah.
thinking.
Before we cause chaos and confusion. And given the delays, I don't think yet have a release date, do we? So sometime in April, they're saying.
Sometime in April, and I think that's all that we know.
Yeah, I think so too.
There's one thing that I want to mention regarding, actually, Warren said that it has the XS model of the Gemini Nano, which is not the one that is found in the Pixel 9. So the difference is that this one, which is found in the 9A, isn't multimodal. It only processes text-related prompts and information and data. So this means, unfortunately, for TalkBack users, this should mean that you won't be able to use the Gemini Nano on device for image descriptions. So actually, you're not losing anything. But for those who are so much like privacy is something very important for them, they don't want their images to go out of the phone and to be uploaded for the description. So they shouldn't be able to have an on-device Gemini descriptions. So I don't think that this will be something important or a deal breaker for most people. But yeah, this is the case. So just put it into consideration that you will be only getting the online image description of TalkBack.
Thank you so much, Karen. And, this is why I was saying the reason why it only has 8 gigs of memory is because it doesn't have a lot of AI in there. And never forget that the 16 gigs that we have on the Pixel 9 Pro or whatever, 4 gigs of that is dedicated to AI. So if you dedicate 4 gigs of memory to AI, that means you're only going to be having 4 gigs. And so that's why this thing is not having all the AI stuff that we've come to know.
But you will still be able to use online image descriptions, won't you? So if you want to do that, then that should still work.
Yeah, and frankly, if I were for going in for an A series, I'm sorry, but I probably will get the Pixel 8a instead of this Pixel 9a. I know it sounds stupid, but just get a Pixel 9, most especially when it's on sale. I know Best Buy had the Pixel 9 Pro here yesterday for $499. That's if you activate with a carrier, and that's a better buy.
Korean, do you know if those A series Samsung phones that came out recently with One UI 7? Do you know if they can do on-device descriptions? Because if they can't, then they won't have any descriptions at all.
Well, I'm not sure, but actually, at least the A36 shouldn't be able to. And the A26, I don't know about the A56. I doubt that it would be having anything similar to anything like Gemini Nano on device thing. It shouldn't be there, but I'm not sure. But I'm like 80% confident that it shouldn't be available on device. So we will just have to wait and see what Samsung is going to do. Is it going to keep its stubbornness and use only the TalkBack without any sort of image description? This would be something really. This will be a serious trouble for all Samsung devices, but let's wait and see.
Karen, I agree with you, and I actually will even bet 90%. You are generous with 80%. I'm 90% optimistic that those things will not have the type of AI that the flagship devices have.
I'm going to say 91%.
Thank you.
Salah and Ed go for higher.
Not on N91, John. Not on Nokia N91%.
And 95%.
N95%. N97%. First touchscreen Nokia.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. N97, good old N97. Sally, are you going to bid 97%? I think you should. You're not going to be wrong.
Yeah. Let's see.
So, Warren, you've answered the question. You're not buying it. John, are you buying it?
No.
Sally and Karine, I assume you're not buying it as non-Pixel owners.
No, actually, we don't have Pixels here.
No,
and
you're lucky.
If I'm going to spend my money, I'm not going to spend my money on a Pixel.
No, you're very lucky to have been choice edited out of the Pixel world, official price world. I will also not be buying it.
Good.
I think during the maybe Christmas season or whatever, I may buy it for my little girl just so that she thinks she has a new phone. But other than that, or maybe just get her a regular Pixel 9. I don't know. But with this nice battery, I will get that for her because she's constantly on that damn phone.
But like you say, if the Pixel 9 Pro is an identical price, carrier activated, then it would be silly to buy a phone effectively 2 steps down from that, wouldn't it?
Exactly. The only catch is that you have to activate it with the carrier.
Yeah.
But I mean, she already has AT&T, or I don't know. But, they always have these little catches here and there. But frankly, I think I may get it for her, but I'm not going to get it at the price that they're selling it for. I'm waiting till, maybe it's $100 down in the fall after the Pixel 10 series come out. And I know it's going to go down.
Probably back to school sales, right?
Yeah, another thing. Yeah, another back to school sales. That's another one.
Yeah.
But I know definitely Black Friday or maybe even Halloween. Oh, who knows?
Not too long. It's till Black Friday. So yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, definitely. I'm gonna get it for my little girl.
Yeah.
Up next is the App of the Week segment. This is a segment dedicated to app demonstrations. Should you have an app that you would like to demonstrate for our listeners, feel free to send us the recording of such an app demo to contact us at blindandroidusers.com. And now for this week's episode, here's your App of the Week.
Now we turn to our App of the Week section, and John demonstrates the venerable app, Button Mapper.
Hello, and welcome to this edition of App of the Week. Today I'll be demonstrating an app called Button Mapper. Now there is a free version of this, and there is a pro version of this, and I bought the pro version a long time ago, and I don't remember how much it costs, and I don't remember what features you get from it, so hopefully that's something you could see in the description if you go read the description for the app. But I'm just going to be demonstrating what I can do with the version I have. I'm just going to use Gemini to find it. Download Button Mapper.
Play Store. Navigate up. Button.
Here we are in the Play Store. First result.
Button Mapper. Remap your keys. FLAR 2. Personalization. Themes. Star rating 3.6. Downloaded 5 million plus times.
So this is the one you want. FLAR 2 is the developer.
Navigate up. Button. Install. Button.
I'm going to install it.
Verified by Play Protect. Navigate up. Button. Button Mapper. Remap your keys. Installing. Open. Button.
And now I'm going to open it.
Button Mapper. Remap your hardware buttons, launch apps, shortcuts or actions with a single, double or long press.
As you can hear, I'm letting it sort of describe it to you rather than just trying to describe it myself. I'm going to go to the next page of the onboarding.
Button Mapper works with hardware keys only. Button Mapper cannot remap on-screen buttons such as the navigation bar or the power button. Screen-off actions require root or advanced ADB setup. Works on most phones.
Next page.
Permissions on some Android devices. The system may stop the Button Mapper background service, preventing remapping from working. Please grant Button Mapper permission to run in the background. Allow background usage. Many phones have additional battery optimization that stops Button Mapper. Visit .killmyapp.com for solutions. .killmyapp.com.
So we're going to look for the button to grant permission.
Allow background usage. Button.
This is the one we're looking for.
Optimize battery usage. Stop optimizing battery usage. Button Mapper will be able to run in the background. Its battery usage won't be restricted. Deny. Button. Allow. Button.
I'm going to allow.
Button Mapper. Allow background usage. Button.
Obviously, by the description of this app, you're going to want it running all the time. I use it, and I can tell you that, at least on my Samsung phone, it doesn't seem to have any effect on battery life. Now that I've enabled that permission, I'm going to go to the next page.
Your privacy is respected. Button Mapper does not collect any personal information. Button Mapper does not have ads or share your data with third parties. Permissions are used only to detect button presses and perform actions.
Next page.
Get started. Button Mapper uses Android's powerful accessibility framework to remap your keys. Permissions are only used to detect button presses and perform actions. Please go to Settings to activate Button Mapper. Open Settings.
This is going to need an accessibility permission, so I'm going to hit this button.
Open Settings. Button. Accessibility. Navigate up. Button.
Now it's different depending on your device, but on a Samsung phone, I need to find installed apps or something similar.
Installed apps. 16 apps.
Opening this.
Installed apps. Navigate up. Button. Accessibility menu. Control device via large menu. Authenticator. Off. Button Mapper. Off.
I'm going to hit this.
Button Mapper. Navigate up. Button.
And I'm going to turn on the switch for it.
Button Mapper. Off. Switch. Allow Button Mapper to have full control of your device. Full control is appropriate for apps that help you with accessibility needs, but not for most apps.
And I'm going to hit allow.
Allow. Button. Button Mapper Pro.
Okay, so now that we are in the main interface of the app, we will just explore it together.
Like. Button.
So this like button, it'll open a menu where you can share, provide feedback, or rate the app.
More options. Button.
Then we have a more options button. I'm just going to show you what's in here.
Pop-up window. Reset to defaults.
An easy way to set everything back to normal.
Start stop service. Uninstall. Theme. High contrast.
So as you can see, it allows you to select the theme, and it also allows you to turn on or off high contrast.
Language.
Choose your language.
Introduction.
Go through that onboarding again if you want to.
About.
And of course, we gotta have about. That's all that's in this menu. I'm gonna close it.
Button Mapper Pro. More options. Button.
And now here's the main part of the app.
Buttons.
You have a heading for buttons.
Volume up. Volume down. Headset button.
So as you can see, these are the buttons that we can customize.
Add buttons.
You're also able to add buttons. So if you are blessed with a device that has additional hardware buttons, you can go in here and it will have you press the button, and if it can detect it, it will let you remap that button as well. It depends on your device whether it can be detected or not. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I've used this app on Android TV devices to remap buttons on the remote, but obviously some phones have additional hardware buttons, and this app may or may not let you customize those buttons. You'll just have to try it. Continuing through here.
Troubleshooting. More options.
We'll come back to more options. I'm going to see what else is on this page.
Screen off actions.
So this, I believe, is a heading.
Android does not natively support remapping while the screen is off. Button Mapper uses advanced methods to allow screen off remapping on most devices. Screen off actions. Volume button single, double and long press works on most devices, requires a DB command after every reboot. Off. Switch.
So you would turn this on if you want screen off button presses to work, but that's not something I'm going to bother with for this demo. And in fact, I don't want to have to do an ADB command every time I reboot my phone, so I've never tried this feature.
Suppress volume change. Try not to change volume while screen is off. Off. Switch.
Continuing through these options.
Skip tracks with volume buttons. Use volume buttons for previous, next track with screen off. Off. Switch.
And if you turn this on, there's an option that you can further customize it below.
Double tap volume to skip tracks. Off. Switch disabled.
Of course, that's disabled because we didn't turn that on.
Global options. Pocket detection. Prevent actions while device is in your pocket. Off. Switch. Default to media volume. Force volume buttons to control media stream. Off. Switch. Swap volume orientation. Adjust orientation based on screen rotation. Off. Switch.
So this option, it's kind of if you, for example, like if you're using a tablet that has the volume keys on the right side of it, and you turn it to landscape, and then the left button is volume up and the right button is volume down, and you want it to behave differently, that's where you would turn this option on.
Zello PTT. Press and hold volume up or down button to talk. Off. Switch.
Sounds like some push to talk thing I've never messed with.
Settings permission. Allow this permission via ADB to enable more options. Off. Switch.
So this will give you the instructions on how to enable more possibilities with this app, which I may dive into deeper later on in this demo.
Button sounds. Play sound on button press. Off. Switch. Long press vibration. 30%. 30%. Slider. Backup and restore. Backup or restore button mapper settings.
So that's all the settings we have on the main page. I'm going to go to the more options that we skipped over earlier.
More options.
I'm going to go in here. Now this is not the more options at the top right. This is just another option in the list on the main page. And now when you double tap on this, and same with the buttons when we customize them later, it kind of puts a pop-up on the screen. So if you want to get to it, you can either explore the screen to find it, or you can do the talkback gesture for next container.
Button options.
So I just did the gesture for next container, because if you just continue swiping right, it'll keep you on the page you were already on, showing you these additional options.
Long press delay. 400 milliseconds.
I'm actually going to change this while I'm here because I like it to be as short as possible.
Long press delay. 150 milliseconds.
So changing this to 150.
Button Mapper Pro. Long press delay. 150 milliseconds.
You can also customize
Double tap delay. 300 milliseconds default. Wait for double tap. Delay single press action for 300 milliseconds. On. Switch. Simulate key codes. Use custom key codes to simulate any button. Opens up more options but requires ADB shell script after every reboot. Off. Switch.
Just want you to see all the customizations that we have here. Next.
Bypass options.
Now these are situations where you don't want Button Mapper to do whatever you've assigned it to do.
Bypass system UI. Disable button mapper for system dialogues. Off. Switch. Bypass camera. Disable button mapper when camera is used. On. Switch. Bypass clock. Disable button mapper when clock is open. On. Switch. Bypass phone. Disable button mapper during phone calls. On. Switch. Volume panel bypass. Disable button mapper when volume panel is shown. On. Switch. Bypass lock screen. Disable button mapper while on lock screen. Off. Switch. Bypass apps. Disable button mapper for selected apps.
The bypass option didn't work for me on my Samsung phone with the camera, so I had to actually choose camera as an app here from this setting. Depending on your manufacturer, you might have to do the same thing.
Misc options. Flashlight timeout. 5 minutes default. Brighter flashlight. Off. Switch. Alternate screenshot method. Use custom screenshot method. Off. Switch. Disable do not disturb. Button mapper will not change do not disturb mode on volume presses. Off. Switch. Show notification. Off. Switch. Increase notification priority. Off. Switch. Alternate lock method. Attempt to lock screen without disabling fingerprint. Off. Switch. Alternate assistant. Use voice_command intent to open assistant. Off. Switch. Monitor headphone jack. Used to route audio to speaker when using mic, press C or other headphone jack buttons. Off. Switch.
So as you can see, we're finally at the end. There are a lot of options in here. So I'm going to go assign a button to do something now. I'm going to back out of this.
Button Mapper Pro.
I'm going to scroll back to the top.
Buttons. Volume up.
I'm going to open this. Same as I described earlier, I'm going to go to the next container.
Volume up.
You can also just explore.
Customize. Off. Switch.
So I'm going to turn this switch on, and it'll allow me to customize the volume up button.
On.
And these are what you can customize.
Single tap, default. Double tap, no action. Long press, default.
So you can customize any or all three of these. Keep in mind, you're probably going to want to leave a way to adjust your volume. You know, for me, the way I use my phone, I rarely press and hold the volume to adjust it. So that's what I assign to a different action. Opening this up.
Actions. Drop down list. Actions.
So here are the categories you have to choose from.
Pop-up window. Actions. Applications. Shortcuts. System. Media. Advanced.
And I'm going to go back to actions
Actions.
and show you some of the options you have in here.
Actions. Drop down list. Actions. No action. Default. Home. Back. Recents. Show menu. Open camera. Turn screen off. Sleep. Toggle flashlight. Screenshot. System settings. Select enter. Last app. App info. Current app. Keep screen on. Voice typing. In-app power dialog. Search. In-app search. Assistant. Scroll up. Scroll down. Copy. Cut. Deep paste. Headset button. D-pad center. D-pad up. D-pad down. D-pad left. D-pad right. Cancel button.
So as you can see, there are a lot of things to choose from. The one I usually like is last app.
Keep screen on.
See if I can find it again.
Voice typing. Power dialog.
I think it was above this.
Recents. Show open. Turn screen. Toggle. Screen. System. Select. Last. App in. Last app.
There we are.
Button Mapper Pro. Long press. Last app.
And now, to the right of each of these, if you're a swiper, there's something that says it's an unlabeled button, but it's not actually a button.
Unlabeled button disabled.
So this is just an icon, basically, that represents a last app, so you can just ignore it. So now, just to demonstrate, I'm going to press and hold the up volume.
Recent apps. Play Store. Navigate up. Button.
Now we're back in the Play Store. I'm going to press and hold it again.
Recent apps. Button Mapper Pro. Unlabeled button disabled.
Back in Button Mapper Pro. So a very quick way to switch back and forth between apps. That's why I like to have that assigned. Now I'm going to back out of this and customize my volume down.
Button Mapper Pro. Volume down. Customize. Off. Switch.
I'm going to turn this on. Don't forget to turn this on because everything will be disabled until you turn on this switch.
On.
Now I'm going to go to press and hold.
Long press. Default.
Or long press.
Actions. Drop down list. Actions.
Now I'm not going to do an action for this. I'm going to do something different.
Pop-up window. Actions.
And I'll explain some of these categories to you.
Applications.
This is pretty self-explanatory. If you wanted to open a specific app, you can go here to access your app list.
Shortcuts.
These are shortcuts for apps. So if you want an app to do a specific action, such as you want to open messages, but you want it to open in a specific conversation with a person, or you want your phone app to call a specific person, or you want to open Seeing AI in a specific mode, like text mode. This is how you do that type of thing. The next category.
System.
This is where I'm going to go, but let's see what's after this.
Media.
So all the different options for controlling media and volume, that sort of thing.
Advanced.
And then I'll show you what's in advanced.
Advanced. Drop down list. Advanced.
For those who are curious, although I'm not going to mess with any of this stuff.
Shell command. Broadcast intent. Custom keycode. Low latency and reliable. Requires a DB command every reboot. Custom keycode vir2. One-time ADB command. Higher latency and less reliable. Public intent. Open URL. HTTP GET request. HTTP post request. Zello PTT.
So that was the list of advanced things. Going back to the drop-down.
Drop-down list. Advanced. Pop-up window. Actions.
What I want is system.
Application. Shortcut. System. System. Drop-down list. System.
And I'll just show you what the options are in here because they're kind of important.
Toggle silent. Vibrate ring.
This is what I'm going to set it to, but I'm going to show you the other options in here.
Toggle ring. Vibrate. Do not disturb. Quick settings. Notifications. Clear notifications. Brightness plus. Brightness. Toggle auto brightness. Toggle mobile data. Toggle NFC. Toggle airplane mode. Invert colors. Toggle auto rotate. Toggle portrait landscape. Change keyboard.
That was everything there. But going back to the top, what I want is
Toggle silent. Vibrate ring. Button Mapper Pro. Long press. Toggle silent. Vibrate ring.
this is what I like to have as my volume down long press. And it gives you feedback so you know what mode you're in. So I'm going to press and hold this.
Do not disturb permission. Navigate up. Button.
And because it was my first time trying, actually, I haven't set this up in a while, so I forgot about this, but you need do not disturb permission. So it brought me to the settings where I can enable this. So I'm going to find button mapper.
Always on display. Android Auto. Android System. Auto Blocker. Auto Hots. BBC. Biometric. Brightness B. Button Mapper. Off. Switch.
Turn it on.
Allow button mapper to access. Do not Allow. Button. Do not disturb permission. Always on display. On. Switch disabled.
Okay, backing out of this.
Button Mapper Pro. Long press. Toggle silent. Vibrate ring.
All right, let's try it again. So I got a strong, short vibrate, which if I remember correctly means it's set to sound on. If I press it again, that's a longer, strong vibration, which means it's set to vibrate. And then that time, it was a 2 quick, light pulses, which means it's on silent. So just by pressing it, I'm going to put this near the mic, see if you can hear. That means ring. That means vibrate. And that means silent. So you can quickly change to one of those modes. Obviously your screen has to be on, but your phone can be locked. So if you just want to turn on the screen so that you're on the lock screen and press and hold a key, you can quickly change your mode that way. Like I said earlier, you can customize any and all of these, whether it be long press, single press, or double press. So if you really want to customize it, what I tried doing is I had a single press of volume up and a single press of volume down assigned to open different apps. One would open Magnifier, one would open Seeing AI. Assuming that I could just double press to adjust volume, and it works. If you just have to double press to go up or down 1 volume increment, or triple press to go up or down 2 volume increments, and so on. So if you can get your muscle memory to remember how to adjust volume that way, then you can customize this even further. But for me, I would just press it once, not thinking, and it would open the app I had assigned to that. So you have to be very intentional with how you set these settings. And if you want more customization, you might just have to get used to how you're going to start controlling your volume from that point on. One more thing I think I'm going to demonstrate in this is for more advanced settings. I'm going to go back in here.
System. Drop down list. System.
And sometimes I like to have something set to invert colors.
Toggle airplane mode.
See if I can find it.
Invert colors.
Here it is. And this is what it's going to tell us.
Button mapper. Advanced setup.
So I'm going to show you how you can do the advanced setup if you want.
This setting requires right_secure_settings permission. Follow this guide to grant permission using your PC. This is a one-time setup that will only take a few minutes. Windows. Button.
So I have Windows. I'm going to hit here.
Enable USB debugging. Plug a USB cable into your device and connect to a PC. If a permission dialog pops up, tap OK to allow USB debugging. Unlabeled. Connected.
So, because I'm already connected through ADB to record this demo, it's showing as connected. I guess that unlabeled button was a connected icon. But just to give you the quick version of how to enable debugging is you have to first enable developer options. You go to your settings, find your about phone settings, software information, and look for the build number. Keep double tapping on that until it lets you enable developer options. Then find developer options and go to enable USB debugging, turn that on. Then you can come here, plug this in, and once it says connected,
Next button.
you can hit next.
Download the setup tool on your PC. Visit the web address below on your PC to download the Button Mapper setup tool. Unzip and run Button Mapper setup.x. Setup buttonmapper.app.
So on my PC, I'm going to go to this address. I'm just going to open the start menu.
Search window, search box, edit.
I'm going to type setup.buttonmapper.app.
SEUP period UTONAPPR APP no I Button Mapper Advanced Setup Personal Microsoft Edge window.
So here on the page,
Heading Level 2 Button Mapper Advanced Setup. Heading Level 2 Windows Setup. Note: Android 12 users must use manual commands.
so further down on this page, you can go to the manual commands. So if that's how you want to do it, which actually that's probably how I'm going to do it, that's an option. But also there is an app you can download that makes it really easy to turn on and off specific access to certain features. Continuing down the page,
Use this application on your Windows PC or laptop to allow Button Mapper to remap the Bixby button or Active Edge, add more actions, simulate key codes, or enable screen off actions without root.
so yeah, that's what I was just saying.
Some LG phones may require installing the LG Universal Mobile Driver on your PC and rebooting. Requires USB debugging enabled on your Android phone, tablet, or Android TV device.
Which I explained earlier.
Simply download, unzip, and run buttonmappersetup.exe. Heading Level 3, Windows. Buttonmappersetup.zip. 2.6 MB. Download.
So here's where you would download it. But I'm going to go through this manual setup area because this is how I prefer to do it.
If you use Mac or Linux, or want to do this manually, here are the commands.
So I will have cut out at this point going through all the items. But the one I was looking for is this one.
Unlock more actions.
And here's the command for us.
/adb shell pm grant fleur2.home button android.permission.write_secure_settings.
So I'm going to copy this.
Copied last phrase to clipboard.
I'm just going to go where I have the platform tools on my PC.
Home, File Explorer window, shell fold, navigation pane tree, home. This PC, Jones S25 Ultra, local disk, C, collapsed. Items view list, ADB, non-selected, off.
I'm just going to open this ADB folder I have.
Space. Items view list, 0 connect, non-selected, off.
So now I'm just going to go to the address bar and type CMD to open a command prompt here.
Address bar, edit, CMD, blank, new, command prompt, editing.
Now I'm going to paste that command.
/adb shell pm grant fleur2.home button android.permission.write_secure_settings.
I know I don't need that slash at the beginning of it, so I'm going to go to the beginning.
/a.
Okay, so now I'm going to delete the slash.
/adb shell pm grant fleur2.home button android.permission.write_secure_settings.
So now I'm going to hit enter here.
/adb.
And I'm assuming that's done it. Let's see.
Setup buttonmapper.app. Done button.
Back on my phone, I'm going to hit the done button.
Button Mapper Pro. Long press. Toggle silent. Vibrate ring.
Now let's try again, see if it'll let me.
System. Drop down list. System. Clear notification. Brightness plot. Brightness. Toggle. Invert colors.
Okay, invert colors.
Button Mapper Pro. Long press. Invert colors.
Now I'm going to long press the volume down, and it's inverted my colors. Press the key ahead, it puts it back. So that is one of the ways you can go about enabling these more advanced features and settings. I hope this has been helpful and not too confusing. If you're still listening, thanks for listening. I'll catch you in the next one.
John, I'm right in thinking you can't use this to give yourself an additional accessibility shortcut, can you? I think I tried to do that once when I first moved to Android and it didn't work.
My guess would be no, unless you're rooted, because I think you could technically. I don't know. I don't know how to if you can. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, I think I tried and I couldn't. It wouldn't let me do it. I had a non-Samsung phone and wanted a hardware G-Show shortcut at the time, and it wouldn't let me do it. It appeared to let me, but it didn't actually turn it on. So yeah.
Let me say this, even though this app is not necessarily for me, but I really like what the guy had to put in there. The guy really knows the Android system, and it's really a great app. And I don't know why people are even giving it 3.6. In my never to be humble opinion, this app is like maybe 4.6. It's a great app. So if you want to really dig down into this, listen to this, and customize your device the way you want it, I really like it. Most especially, for those of us that don't have like the action button, if you're a Pixel phone or whatever, this could come in handy, especially you want to assign the long pressing of a sudden button to do XYZ. I really like the app. Thanks, John, for demonstrating this app.
Well, regarding what Ed was asking about, I think it should be possible if the developer included the services in the app itself, because it has those ADB commands, and actually John was able to create a shortcut for color inversion, right? So actually, it's actually an accessibility thing, accessibility service. So it shouldn't be a problem if for example, he includes talkback. So this should be a way to turn on talkback, isn't it?
Yeah. So when I went through the advanced settings, there was an option for shell command, I think, and I'm assuming that that's where you would be able to put an ADB command for turning on a service, and you can turn it on from a computer. The only thing I don't know is if you need root privileges to run ADB commands locally on the device. If you can do it, then it should work. Yeah, because there is an option to set that up.
Yeah, I think that might work. And maybe, John, like you demonstrated in your demo, one could just copy the whatever path if one knows it or if it's there. But I'm sure, like Karen says, if it works with that color inversion, my guess is that it would also work for TalkBack. And if it's not, maybe it's something that we could mention to the developer, and maybe something he overlooked and would be able to implement that. But I'm kind of almost feeling that it would work with TalkBack if one knows what they're doing.
Sounds like one we'll have to check. Interesting to know if it does.
Up next is the tip of the week. This is a feature where we show you a trick or two on how to use some certain feature on your phone or some other feature in a given app. And now for this week's episode, here's your tip of the week.
Now we close our episode with a tip of the week. And a lot of people have held off switching from Google Assistant to Gemini, because when Gemini was initially launched, it wasn't as capable of performing on-device operations as Google Assistant was. But Warren shows us that in many respects, this has now changed.
Hi, Warren here for Blind Android Users Podcast and for episode 224, Tip of the Week. This is demonstrating the feature of Gemini to be able to make phone calls or answer phone calls, stop alarms, and all of the like. This is not going to be demonstrating the whole app as it is, because that will be an entire episode, but I thought I'll do this because there's been a little talk on our email group as to why people are not switching to Gemini because they think that there are certain things that Gemini doesn't do that the assistant does. And this is to show you that indeed Gemini does everything that the assistant does. And the only thing that the Gemini doesn't do is the ability to power off your device, something that neither the assistant does. I am in the Gemini app, and you could bring it up by launching the app itself or use the magic word. And the next thing we want to do, though, is tap on our username found on the top right corner.
Signed in as Warren Carr. Account in settings. Close. Button.
I tapped on my username there on the top right corner, and we're landed on the close button there on the top left corner. Now, moving down, we got
Signed in as Warren Carr.
And to the right of that,
Change profile picture.
you could change your profile picture. Moving on down,
Manage your Google account. Button.
next.
Gemini apps activity. 1 of 7 in list 7 items.
Now, I do want to mention here in passing that I'm not going to be going into each and every one of these, but I'll only go into those that I think are important, because going through all of these would be an entire episode, and that's not what this is intended for. So here you can
Gemini apps activity. 1 of 7.
go into here and see the activities that you've done so far, and you could decide to clear them out or even turn off the ability to save those activities. Moving on down,
Saved info. 2 of 7.
saved info. This is where you could go in and add things like, hey, I just want short responses and things like that. I'll quickly show you that, even though I'm not interested in doing that, but let's go in here.
Progress bar 0%. 0%. Gemini chat to supercharge your ideas. Web view out of list. Chrome.
And I'm going
on.
to move on down, and it is on by default.
Info you asked Gemini to save. Heading 1.
Moving,
Learn how saved info is used. Button.
next,
Enables or disables the saved info feature. Switch. On.
and
Share info about your life and preferences to get more helpful responses. Add new info here or ask Gemini to remember something during a chat. Heading 5.
now below that on the left,
Add. Button.
we have an add button, and to the right of that is a button that says,
Open a menu with more options to manage saved info. Menu pop-up button.
in other
Collapse.
words, if you have stuff you've added, you could go in here to either delete or edit those. Let's go back though to the left and tap on that add,
Add. Button.
and tapping.
Edit box editing. Enter new memory. For example, I prefer short, concise responses. Showing English USQWERTY.
So in other words, just like the Google Assistant, where we have radio buttons for, say, hey, I want a brief response or full response, here you could just type in, I want short responses or something to that effect. I'm not going to do anything here, but I'm going to go back.
Close tab. But ask Gemini.
Tapping on that close, it brings me back to the main UI, and now I'm going to tap on my username there on the top right corner.
Signed in as Warren.
We're now back in the menu again, and let's proceed from where we left.
Saved info. 2 of 7 in list.
Below that,
Apps. 3 of 7.
apps. Let's go in here quickly, see what this has to do with.
Gemini. Back. Button out of list. Showing items 1 to 19 of 19.
Here we are in an area where we're seeing a slideshow there on the top. If I leave it on, you
Showing
can
item 3 of 4.
hear it keep going on and sliding from right to left. Now, but below that, though, we have some
One
tabs.
conversation.
We
Showing item
have
4 of 4.
productivity, which is selected by default, and to the left, or rather to the right of that,
Learn. Communication. 2 of 6 in list of settings. 6
Communication, go
showing
right,
items. Device control. 3 of 6.
right,
Travel. 4 of 6.
right,
Showing item. Media. 5 of 6.
and the last
Showing
item.
3. Learning. 6 of 6.
Now, by default, the productivity is
Showing item
selected,
4 of 4.
and below that productivity, or below all of this, is the items from the productivity.
Showing item 1 of 4.
And here's what we got.
Productivity. Google Workspace. Add. Gmail, at Google Calendar, at Google Docs, at Google Drive, at Google Keep, at Google Tasks, at Workspace. Find, summarize, and get quick info from your content in Gmail, Docs, Drive, and more. Showing item
And
4 of 4. Google Workspace app. Switch on.
To the right of that is switched on, and moving on
Showing
down.
item. Send a text message to.
Let's now scroll back though to the top, because you can change these tabs by swiping left and right with 2 fingers to move to the next tab. So you have to scroll back up
Showing
to
item
the
3
top
of 4.
and then tap on the one you want. I'm going to tap on the communication tabs now. That's the second one from
Showing
the
item 4 of
productivity
4.
tab.
Communication. 2 of 6. Google Workspace. Add. Showing
I'm
item 2
now
of 4.
in the communication tab, and under this communication tab, we have some of the items that we also saw in the
Showing item 3
productivity.
of. Messages. Add. Messages.
And to the right of it,
Messages app. Switch on.
moving down,
Send a text message to mom saying I love you. Phone. Add. Phone.
to the
Make
right
phone
of that.
call. Phone app. Switch on. Make a call to mom.
In other words, it's telling you examples of what you can do. You could just ask it to make a call to
Showing item 2 of 4.
mom, make a call to my wife or my girlfriend, whatever the case may be. Next.
WhatsApp.
And
WhatsApp app. Switch on.
and that is also switched.
Call mom on WhatsApp.
You got the drift.
Showing
I'm going to
item
go
4
back.
of
There are
4.
lots of things here, and you turn on the ones that you want and turn off the ones that you don't want to use. I'll now go to the next
The magic
tab.
of Gemini comes. Device control.
Now here we are in device
Showing item
control.
4 of Google Home. Google Home app.
And to the right of that is an off switch as well.
Utilities. Add.
And
Utilities.
to the right of that.
Utilities app. Switch on.
So things like that. Now I'm going to go back up to the
On
top
phone
and
app.
tap on the next
Phone.
tab.
Message.
And that will
Communication.
be
Travel. 4 of
Travel.
6. Showing
Next.
items. Media. 5
media.
of 6. Media. Spotify. Add. Spotify.
And to
Play
the
your
right of
favorites.
that.
Spotify app. Switch off. Showing
and
item 1 of
then
4.
going down.
YouTube. Add. YouTube. YouTube app. Switch on.
You got the drift. Now I'm going to go back
Spotify.
to the
Seven.
top. And the last item
Showing learning. 6 of 6.
is learning. Let's see what we got.
Learning. Showing item 4 of 4. OpenStax. Add. OpenStax. Retrieves passages from openly licensed textbooks from OpenStax. Showing item 1 of 4. OpenStax app. Switch on.
Next.
Learn more. Showing item. An OpenStax definition of a Lewis acid.
You got the drift. Now I'm going to go back, and it's going to take me
Showing
out of
item
here.
3 of 4. Send. Page 1 of
And
2.
now I'm going to tap on my username there on the top right corner again.
Signed in his Warren account in settings.
Now we were,
Apps. 3 of 7.
and moving on down,
Gem Manager.
we
4 of
have the
7.
Gem Manager, and basically here you can go in and choose whether or not you want it to help you, assist you in writing and things of that nature. I'll quickly show you this, but I'm not going to spend some time there because each and every item there explains what it does.
Gemini. Page. Gems. Out of list. Page 2 of 2.
In the gems, though, we have some tabs. We've got all, which is selected by default.
All. Tab. Selected 1 of 3 in list 3 items.
And to the right of that,
Your gems. Tab. 2 of 3.
that's the one that you've chosen to add. And then the last item,
By Google. Tab. 3 of 3.
and that will be Gems by Google. But since we're in all now, what we have underneath here is
Brainstormer Gem. Find inspiration easily. Fresh ideas for parties, gifts, businesses, and more.
Next.
Career Guide Gem. Unlock your career potential. Get a detailed plan to refine your skills and achieve your career goals.
Next.
Coding Partner Gem. Level up your coding skills. Get the help you need to build your projects and learn as you go.
Now that's the last one in there, but you could tap on each of these, and when you tap on each of these, there are other items or categories in there as well. I'll go back.
By Send.
It takes me out, and I'm going to tap on my username again.
Signed in as Warren. Account and settings.
Now we were looking at Gem Manager, and below Gem Manager,
Update. 5 of 7.
you could tap here to see what has been updated and the things that have been updated since they keep adding things. And below that,
Privacy Help Hub. 6 of 7.
next.
Switch to Google Assistant. 7 of 7.
That's when you decided that I want to go back to the assistant. You could tap there and it'll present you with both the Gemini and the assistant, and you could just tap on the assistant to go back to the assistant. Moving on down,
Settings. 1 of 3 in list 3
we
items.
have settings, and next,
Feedback. 2 of 3.
and last item
Help. 3 of 3.
is the help. I want to go though and tap on that settings because that has some of the things we're looking for, especially if you want to be able to use it in answering calls, making phone calls, sending text messages, and the likes. Let's tap on settings.
Settings. 1 of 3.
And I'll tap.
Gemini. Page. Gemini settings. Out of list. Page 2 of 2.
We're now in the settings, and I'm starting from the top, and here are the items included in the settings. I'll go through this and open the ones that I think are of importance.
Public links. Control how you share chats and responses. 1 of 11 in list 11 items.
Next,
Gemini's voice. Choose how Gemini will sound. 2 of 11.
next,
Languages. For speaking to Gemini. 3 of 11.
next,
Quick phrases. Skip saying, "Hey Google," for help with specific tasks powered by Google Assistant. 4 of 11.
Now this is important because if you want to be able to do things of this nature, you need to go in here. I'll go in here real quick.
Assistant settings. Google. Back. Button out of list.
And here's what we got.
Quick phrases. Heading.
Moving down,
Skip saying, "Hey Google," for help with specific tasks.
down,
Google Assistant will wait in standby mode to detect these voice commands.
and below that,
Switch on. Alarms and timers. Quote. Stop snooze. Available on this phone.
so in other words, you could use your voice to tell it to stop the alarm or snooze the alarm. And the last item here,
Switch off. Incoming calls. Quote. Answer, decline, silence. Available on this phone, Pixel Buds Pro.
in other words, if you want to be able to use your voice to say answer the call, put that call in silent mode, or decline that call, you could turn this on. Since I don't use that, I don't have mine turned on. And below that, it gives you information that says,
Note, Assistant may activate when you didn't intend it to, if it incorrectly detects you want its help. Learn more.
and I'm going to go back.
Gemini. Quick phrases. Skip saying, "Hey Google."
Now moving on down,
Screen context. Allow Gemini to capture information on your screen. 5 of 11.
next,
Contact info from your devices. Saves info from your signed-in devices about contacts to make them easier to interact with. 6 of 11.
that explains what it is. Next,
Manage your advanced subscription. Modify or cancel your subscription to Gemini Advanced. 7 of 11.
next,
Gemini on lock screen. Use Gemini when your screen is locked. 8 of 11.
and you need to go in here to be sure you turn those features on. And next,
Google Assistant features in Gemini. Access features powered by Google Assistant when you use your voice with Gemini. 9 of 11.
so with those assistant features that you've come to know, you want to be able to take advantage of those. You need to go in here and make sure those features that you want turned on. I'll show you a quick example and then we'll come back.
Page. Google Assistant features in Gemini. Out of list. Use Google Assistant features. 1 of 8 in list 8 item. Access Google Assistant features when you use your voice with Gemini, such as sending messages. Learn more.
And
Switch on.
you want to make sure that that is switched on, because if it's not, you're not going to be able to do those next.
Relevant settings for features powered by Assistant. Heading 2 of 8.
And we got
Hey Google and voice match. Get hands-free help powered by Google Assistant. 3 of 8.
you tap there to make sure you go in and turn on the features that you want next.
Personal results. Get info and suggestions specific to you. 4 of 8.
You go in here as well, choose the features that you want on and those you do not want on next.
Home control. Manage services for your home devices. 5 of 8.
Same idea next.
Broadcast. Broadcast voice messages to your Google family group. 6 of 8.
So you're out there somewhere in town and you want to say something to your family at home, you could do that. You go in here and choose the devices you could use next.
App info from your devices. Saves info from your signed-in devices about installed apps to make them easier to interact with. 7 of 8.
In that way, you are able to launch apps and all of that next.
Routines. Simplify tasks with Assistant. 8 of 8.
And that's the last item. I'm going to go back.
Google Assistant features in Gemini.
And moving on down,
Digital assistants from Google. Choose between Gemini and Google Assistant. 10 of 11.
in other words, if you tap here, it's going to take you to the settings on your phone where you could choose what assistant you would like to use, whether it's Gemini Assistant or Perplexity or some other digital assistant. Moving on.
Gemini uses location to give you more relevant responses. To control if your device's location can be used, go to Location Settings for the Google app. 11 of 11. Showing
And
items 3 to 11.
the last phrase here is,
Learn more about how Google uses location data.
and that's all that we have. I hope that by now, though, you understand how to go about managing the Gemini app so that you can do the things that the assistant does. Thanks for listening.
Anything we want to say about this?
Well, actually, I have something to say regarding this one, because it happened that I'm promoting Accessible Android here. I did an article, actually a guide about the Gemini apps, only the apps part, which is the extensions, and Warren covered this in the tip of the week. And I did some testing for the guide, and then I included the results. But the thing is, there's still a problem with Gemini, which is the inconsistency. So it could work very well with an extension sometimes. It could just work as an assistant as you expect it to be. And sometimes it just decides to not work as it should. So, for example, sometimes you would feel like it's much easier to go and do the thing manually by hand instead of letting Gemini understand that you want this to be done. Actually, this is not the case always. Most of the times it works as it should, but sometimes it struggles to know that it's an assistant. It struggles to know its capabilities, actually. And this is a real problem with Gemini. It doesn't know actually its real capabilities well. It doesn't know its limitations sometimes well. But I noticed that sometimes, for example, with Gmail, I think 2 days ago I was trying to ask it for something in Gmail, and it insisted that it couldn't open. I'm a large language model. I can't check the Gmail. I don't have a physical presence. So I wasn't asking it to be like a person and open my inbox and go. It was, okay, I was trying several times to let it understand what the thing is. I want just to grab this email, but it kept not understanding anything. And it kept saying that you should know my limitations. I can't. I was trying to say, okay, but you are able already to do this. I was trying to ask it for to tell me about the extension, the Google Workspace extension, and it kept not willing to cooperate until after a bit I asked the same question, and it just obeyed my order. So this is the real problem with Gemini. Google should work on this, should work on Gemini to act as an assistant, to be able really to know what it's doing, to really have the real capable assistant. Because with apps, I don't know why they called them apps. Actually, the previous naming was better, extensions. Anyway, this is Google at the end of the day. But with the inclusion of apps and with the inclusion of all of the additions, Gemini is having a big potential. But the problem with Gemini is in Gemini itself. It's in its way of dealing with things, with conversations. So Gemini should be really improved to be able to take advantage of all of these improvements, because it's really on its way there, but it still needs slight work.
I don't know. These things sometimes happen, when they work, and other times they don't. I haven't had that experience that Karine is talking about. If I ask it to read my email messages, it reads my email messages, or if it's something that I haven't given it permission to, it will tell me I need to give permission to that app to access my notification or whatever. So it's one of those things that, technology, when it works, it works. And when it doesn't work, it's very frustrating. I've seen instances I try to do something that I knew it was there, and it may not work at all. So you kind of keep trying and see when it works.
Yeah, I can speak to the inconsistency. For me, sometimes I'll ask it to turn on a setting or something that I know it can turn on, and it usually does turn it on, but every once in a while it'll just say something like, to change the setting, you need to go into your phone settings. Like, no, I don't need to, because you can do this. So yeah, it needs to, like Karine said, it needs to do a better job at knowing what it can do.
Yeah.
Instead of just
in other words,
answering as if you're like, it seems like sometimes it doesn't know that you're telling it to do something. It just thinks you're asking a general question. It's like, no, I'm telling you to do something
specific. Yeah. There's that inconsistency, and we want it to be more consistent. And this is a constant work in progress. It's not something that I think it took Assistant a while to mature. So I'm expecting the same thing here. And of course, we're seeing that behavior with Gemini. It will take it a little while to get to that maturity. Right now, I think it's that teenage behavior.
It's still early. It's hard to like, a year ago, it wasn't even Gemini, right? It was still Bard. Am I wrong about that?
It was. 2 years ago, it was Bard.
Pretty new. So, I mean, it has come a long way in the past year, but they still have work to do.
I mean, like maybe a few months ago, you can't even ask it to open a web page, but now it does. So, like I said, it's just a work in progress. It's something that is going to mature over time, and most especially if they're going to be phasing out the assistant, then my expectation is that they're going to be working hard on this thing to make it as good as the assistant was. All good things must end. Thus, it's curtain drawing time, bringing us to the close of this week's episode. Coming up, though, we give you information on how to get hold of us.
That's it for this week, everyone. John, how can people get in touch with us?
To contact us, simply send an email to contactus@blindandroidusers.com. If you'd prefer, you can leave a voicemail by calling +1 307 202 9797. You can join our mailing list by sending a blank email to blindandroidusers+subscribe@groups.io. You can join our Facebook and Telegram groups, or subscribe to our YouTube channel using the links in the podcast show notes or YouTube video description. And you can find all of this information and more at our website, blindandroidusers.com.
Well, say bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you next week, God willing. Thank you.
Have a great week. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Blind Android Users Podcast. Until we see you next week, don't forget to leave us your comments and suggestions via our email contact or using any of our social media sites. Have a great week.